Hello YouTube, my name's Sean Connors and welcome back to The Outsiders, and this particular video is a reply video to the Darkageof. In fact, it's more than just a reply, it's an idea. Now, a few nights back, you may or may not be aware that a number of YouTubers used Google Plus to create a role-playing experience. They got together on a night and did some free-form role-playing, very ably led, I may say, by Darkageof, who was the DM on the night, and a number of very influential YouTubers got together and put together quite a good show. I did catch quite a lot of it, but it was going on way up to 2 o'clock in the morning here in the UK, and I did have some issues staying up beyond that point because I had a very early meeting the next day. However, I digress. The most important thing was they enjoyed the experience, and so did a lot of the audience. The thing that's become clear is, subsequently, they want to try to run this using a diceless frame as a system, and to me that makes a lot of sense because I've used Google Plus a lot, and I found it, for general chatting, great. For role-playing experience, very slow, because people have to use different computer servers, you've got to have the same program technology, you've got to be brought up to speed. It really slows the process of what good role-playing is all about. But what they did in their Google Plus night, which they realised very quickly, is you want a free-form style of platform with some bones to it, and I believe this is what I have. So I'm going to talk about my system. My system is called the Necromonum system. Effectively, what this is a system that will allow you in one night's worth of play to do what many role-playing games cannot do over many months, which is to put a lot of moral issues in front of the players, create very quick characters in a diceless format, and at the end of the night, I guarantee you will have a lot of fun, so will your audience watching it, which is the key, because you want the audience to come with you. And the beauty of this system is it can be reused in so many different genres. And the nice thing is that every time we run it, it's possible that a new DM could take the mantle of the DM role, and we could all contribute as players, which I think is brilliant, and at the same time allow the audience who get hopefully excited about the format come in and want to play a character as well. What's lovely about the Necromonum system is I pretty much think it's whatever the GM can cope with. Certainly on Google Plus, the nice thing is you could have up to 9 people on there, so there's a lot of scope for a large group, which is great. Now, what is Necromonum? The most exciting part about it is the fact that the way that it works. And the first bit is exciting to watch, which is an auction process. And what the auction process is built around is the fact there's 3 things. The first part to the auction process is you're bidding on 2 primary stats. I'm not going to go on to that on here. But you've only got, each person who's bidding has a maximum of 100 points to bid throughout the 3 auction processes. And that's key to remember that. So let's just make a determination here. I'm not going to talk about what people have decided to bid, but let's just say you've used up about 30 points. Then, of course, the second part to you is you're bidding on an array of secondary stats. There are 4 stats in the array, and you decide how you want to place the scores into those arrays. Everybody will know what you've won, but they won't know where you've placed it, which is exciting. And all auctions are very exciting. They'll make a great watch on here, that's for sure. And the third part is on powers and magic items, and those will be appropriate for the storyline that the GM wants to weave for that night. So let me give you an example of a story, and then let's put it all together, and hopefully it will excite you as much as it does me, and I hope it will typically be something that you're interested in. So one of the sort of ideas, always with Necromonum, the key is the story, not the stats, not the fluff, the story, and it must have a tale of 2 sides, or something which draws people together. A good example, I've run 2 very successful convention stories using this. I have Reservoir Weasels, I'll probably use Weevils for a shipping story. Reservoir Weasels, and I've done one where it's about the kingdom. And it's about a kingdom that's been torn in half, and they finally come to the conclusion there are 2 heirs to the throne. And there's 2 factions, and those factions come together, i.e. the player characters, to thrash out who's actually going to be king, and there's obviously a lot of issues and moral conflict in that. Reservoir Weevils is a story where there's been a job, you remember Reservoir Dogs, it's gone wrong, the boss believes there's an informant, and these people are thrown together to discover actually who the informant is, and get the weasel out, and that's a lot of fun because there's a lot of reasons why each person could be fearful of their position. So, you get the idea. Now, in a night, of course, what makes this exciting? You've got an auction. Auctions don't take long. The whole thing, even for a bunch of newbies, I can run an auction in under 20 minutes. I think the longest auction took was 25. Once people have done it once, honestly, it's 10 to 15 minutes. And with a group of experienced people, that's the worst scenario, probably 15 minutes. But what does that leave us? Plenty of time. Because you can run this game beautifully in a night. You really can. You can do it over 2 to 4 hours very comfortably, which will fit the Google Plus time frame very nicely, and the time frame with the audience watching. And you will have a definitive close. So it will definitely close that night. Something will happen which will be dramatic. And that's what's exciting, because we won't know. Now, the GM's role within all this is facilitator. He will know at a glance whether somebody, and this is what makes it so much fun as a diceless system, he will know at a glance whether somebody is stronger than somebody else. But there are, of course, skills and abilities that can occasionally tip the balance the other way, and various other things that can kick in, of course. And the GM's job that night is to apply pressure. That's the most important thing, as you will see with Necromonum. It's how you apply pressure. Plus, you can have a setup of various rooms and everything else. What I try to do is I give, with Necromonum, because one of the things that came out of recently was about narrative control. Now, Necromonum puts a lot of the creative control in the player's hands. So when you first set the scene, you're actually encouraging the audience to describe that room for you, not you as the GM, and you run pretty much with what they describe. Plus, of course, what you get to do is throw in a number of spanners throughout the course of the night. And that's the lovely thing. So it's very easy to previously email out to the players a set location, maybe with a half a dozen or a dozen rooms. And then as players move about, you can do various things very importantly. What I can definitely tell you in each of these stories, of course, is that predetermined before any of the games, I will, of course, if I was running it, I would have talked to one of you who would, of course, be the weasel, or who might be the problem formed between the two kingdoms, and of course protecting their position. There's so many different things that can be thrown into spanner of the works, but the key is time pressure to keep the game on point. But you'll see this if this is something that interests you. So basically, I leave it over to you, and particularly the Darkageof and any of those that were on the Google Plus Hangout. I hope you like the idea. I hope you think it has merit. I'll quickly recap it here. A quick, easy system that is diceless. That's very, very straightforward for any GM to pick up and run. That can be changed into any genre. Fun, because for the audience watching, as an auction process, you will get to see character development throughout the whole of that experience. And there will be a conclusion, often a very dramatic one. Characters do die. People do fall by the wayside. Things happen. Informants get shot. A lot can happen. But it takes time. The beauty of this game, it shouldn't be instant. It takes a bit of time to get to those points, and that's what the GM does. He's got to create that beautiful tapestry that allows the players the framework to get into the mindset and beyond of their characters. And I believe that's what Necromonum does. I'll leave it over to you, and I look forward to hopefully some feedback over the weekend on this very video. I'll leave a link, of course, to the Darkageof, his video in relationship to this, and I'll also put a link to the Darkageof's video regarding the night that I actually did the role-playing exercise, because I think that's apt and absolutely right. But anyway, I've been Sean Connors. This has been the Outsiders channel on a very late night here in the UK. Good night to you all. Happy gaming, and see you soon. Bye-bye.